Kevin.
Hey, guys, it's Amber.
And Kristen,
She's coming.
I'm a coming.
We are having to do the podcast today. It will air on Friday on all of the listening podcast apps as Spreaker, Spotify, iHeart. But today we are going live on Facebook and YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully you all will tune into us and interact and listen to what we've got going on today.
Yeah, because unfortunately we got some things going on in our lives where Thursday and Friday just didn't work
Didn't
out.
work out this week, but
So,
whatever. So today is Look Twice, Save a Life. We are both very big advocates for motorcycles because we both ride.
yes.
So you will probably hear this, see this several times throughout our podcast because last year we had too many of our close friends that had wrecked,
Mm-hmm.
several around the community that lost their lives. And this year, the weather has started getting a lot better, a lot quicker. We've already had a wreck or two
Uh-huh.
this year.
Yeah, I mean, we've had more than one or two. I've seen about seven or eight.
Yeah.
Um, and there's a lot of hit and runs too.
So if we can get the word out to be more alert when motorcycles are out and about, then we're going to do our damnedest to do so because
Mm-hmm.
I mean this is what we love to do.
So a lot of people, their big thing is if you don't wear a helmet. Well, I don't give a shit. You're still a human,
Yeah.
and you still deserve that respect on the roadways. Um, and I think you and I have talked about this before. In my SUV, I have a lot of blind spots,
Hmm.
and then I have the noise canceling, and I listen to my music loud, and I'm still very well aware of what's around me. And that's not to say I have almost a motorcycle before, but he was riding right beside me where you couldn't see, and thankfully he set off my sensor, and I knew not to get over. But um, there is times when you know it's not always the car's fault.
It's not. And we
But
get that. Like, I mean, I get that. I know it's
mhm,
not always the car's fault, but it just seems like more so than not, cars don't pay attention. They don't respect a motorcycle. I mean, I get that some people may think that motorcycles don't need to be out on the road, which that pisses me off
oh,
because
you want to know something that pisses
why?
me off is people that say that when you go into the emergency room or anything, if you're riding a motorcycle, that you're an organ donor. And I said, you know what? I'm about to take that shit off of my license because I'm an organ donor, whether I'm on that motorcycle in my Escalade, walking down the roadway, if I just drop dead,
Right.
I'm an organ donor. But I'll be damned if somebody that wants to call me an organ donor gets one of my organs.
I don't understand the I don't get why so many people want to be so negative towards somebody who rides motorcycles.
Because people are negative.
I get that. I mean, I know that, but it just seems like for instance, on Facebook, because I do all of our advertising and everything for
Mm-hmm.
Long Branch and pretty much everything that we do on several of the sites and stuff on Facebook. Um, and when good weather hits, and you see a lot more bikes out, of course,
I was having a blind moment. Sorry.
a lot more people also start mowing their grass.
Oh my god.
And so there is grass that is blown into the roadways, which I absolutely can't stand, not just because we ride, but because it's just why it gets your car dirty too and nasty and whatever.
Well,
But it is more dangerous for somebody on a motorcycle when there is grass blowing in the road. And
especially when it's wet.
yeah, and so people will get online and they'll be like,
Make
"Oh,
jokes
well,
about it.
you knew that before you started riding." Well, bitch, you knew that a car would kill you too if you ran off the road. It don't mean that you're not gonna get behind the
Yeah.
wheel. Like,
Well, and
I don't get it.
people are just so inconsiderate these days because it's like blowing the grass on the road. Nobody is talking about like a minuscule amount of grass. We're talking about the people that blow chunks their entire damn yard out into the roadway. Like that's what makes it dangerous, not clippings.
Yeah.
I hate when people say that, but and especially like even experienced riders, they will have hard times on that. But an inexperienced rider, that yeah, they need to learn how to ride, absolutely. However, why
Don't
in the
make it
fuck would you make?
worse.
And we're probably gonna cuss a lot during this one because this is something we're extremely passionate about. So sorry, I might drop
don't
the f bomb.
don't make it worse on somebody.
Well, and so that would be like me being and consider your Jeep. You can park your Jeep anywhere you want to. My Escalade, I can put it wherever I want to, and it's huge. I can block people in. I can be a total bitch in that thing because I'm bigger than 90% of the vehicles on the road. Just because you can do it, don't mean you should.
Right.
I mean,
Right. I mean that I don't. We were me and
Justin said that people make a big deal about it on both sides of the debate, but simply put, why create any more hazard than there already is?
exactly
That's
we
the whole point. Is that why?
we have me and Jimmy were riding one day, and there was like 5 or 6 of us. You know, most of the time you don't. If you see one motorcycle out, you see several.
Yeah, you see 100.
So we were riding one time, and this woman was mowing her grass, and she was blowing it out in the freaking road. Well, not only that, like she saw us coming down the road and blew it on us.
We were on a ride, the river ride, and there was a man blowing grass on the road, like as we're going past, and we're in the middle of a ride.
Hmm.
And I'm not talking clippings, like he was throwing it at us. And I'm sorry, but that's 101 when you learn how to mow. You don't throw shit at people
No,
because it can kill them.
you don't put it out in the road, regardless, because even if you're in a car and you're blowing grass towards the roadway, if you hit a rock and you sling it through somebody's windshield, I mean, that is not only safety for those who ride motorcycles, but safety for you because you could get sued for that.
Yeah.
We actually had a friend who rode his bike to work one day. He worked into the night, so it was dark when he was coming home.
Mm-hmm.
The house below him had just freshly mowed their grass. It had rained, so it was slicker and shit out. And he ran across that grass and he slid and wrecked his bike. He sued the homeowner's insurance and won because
Well,
they should not have thrown it out in the yard.
and a
I
lot
mean,
of people don't
road.
realize that grass, it's not illegal necessarily, but it is considered a hazard that you put on the road. So that's how you can sue somebody for
Yeah.
that. Justin said he was dang near cutting hay and throwing it on us. Yeah. When I tell you I was, you know how I wear a bandana.
Hmm.
There was grass in my bandana.
Yeah.
Like it was all over us, all over the bikes, everything. And I'm sitting here like, that grass get on one of these hot motors and catch fire. That was something else that went through my head. I was like, I don't know how like illogical that is, but that was something else that went through my mind.
And some people, maybe you don't think about that because you don't ride.
But
you do
how inconsiderate
see,
when you see somebody, even if you're walking down the damn street, you turn it off, turn around, something. You wait for them to go past.
right.
Like that was, I mean, that would be like me mowing my grass on the zero turn and even the push mower, and just my kids walking up to me and me just walking right past them and throwing whatever is in my yard at them.
Right.
I mean, you don't know what's in your yard, and his grass was tall, so you don't know if there's sticks, rocks, anything that he could have launched at us. And I'm pretty sure we did hear stuff bounce off one of the bikes. And because we looked back to make sure the rider was okay, because you could hear it hitting the metal.
And I mean, it's not just the grass. Of course, it's not just the grass. I mean, when you're pulling out at a red
The
light,
rock.
if you're pulling out at a stop sign,
Mm-hmm.
look twice, save a life. I mean, we've got decals up everywhere that we tell them here. Kristen makes them. That is something that we always
That we're very passionate about.
stress. Look
And
twice, save a life.
that's something too. When we talk about looking twice, we're not talking about the ones that ride like total morons. Yes, we don't want to see them get hurt. We're talking about the people that are out to enjoy the ride. We're not talking about somebody doing 120 down a back road, because that's an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, that's a whole different story.
But now, if we're just chilling going down a back road, watch yourself. I mean, because
Watch your surroundings.
yeah, because we when we wrecked, we were second bike back. We weren't on this car's ass, and they locked up, and we couldn't get stopped. You go from 60 to 0,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people don't realize the bikes take longer to stop than a car. And Justin, he was smart about it. He took us to the grass. Thank God, didn't take us into oncoming traffic and stuff. But that bitch watched me fly off the bike and then took off.
Didn't stop. There's a lot. I this is one thing that I do not understand. And we ride. I have a lot of family that rides. Um, I don't understand some people's concepts. Uh, when we're in a group, normally 9 times out of 10, if you see a group of
It's a
bikers
charity.
riding together, it is a charity. We're riding for a cause to raise money for something or somebody, um, that is in need of something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a hobby that we love to do. Plus, we're giving back to the community when we do it. So why be so disrespectful or not pay attention?
Justin just said something that I had completely forgot about, and this almost killed my dad. And we were with him, and I would have watched it happen. Um, a piece of scrap metal flew off the trailer that was not contained goods, split his head open, and literally almost knocked him off his bike. We were coming back from, we had gone to the rattlesnake or
Hmm.
the head of the, whatever they call it. I think it's the rattlesnake. But we went up there, we stayed the night and come home the next day because it's a pretty long ride. And even though Justin and I could have gone up and come back, my dad, he's not capable, but we was riding with my dad and staggered, and all of a sudden my dad just backs off, and he's barely going.
Mm.
So we're like, what did something happen to his bike? And we he gets up beside us and tells us that he needs to pull over at the store, and thankfully the metal hit his hat and didn't hurt him too bad. Had he not had his hat on, because it almost is like it hit the harder part of his hat,
Yeah.
and but it did. It almost knocked my dad completely off the bike, and that as a daughter, I couldn't imagine watching my
Something
father
more
go down,
tragic.
especially when we're going down a pretty busy road.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's something else. Like, contain your load. Um, we build houses and stuff for a living, and I will get behind trailers and stuff that has rock open, like they don't contain their load. And it's not even the bikes, the people on the bikes or anything. If you throw shit at my SUV, I'm following you, and I'm calling the law because you're gonna pay for any kind of scratch your shit put on my car.
Well, and I just, again, we go back to the safety of it. Like, we understand. That's why when we say, I think my mic's getting ready to
Do you have
die.
batteries down there?
No, I don't. When we
Yes, sir.
say,
Keep on
um,
talking. I got you.
pay attention to your surroundings. We try to get people to
We're getting ready to switch out some stuff here.
adopt a biker. That's been something that we have talked about. And that means that if you're following behind a bike, keep that length in between you.
And she's gonna get quiet for just a minute. We got to turn her mic back on. We forgot to buy batteries. We've had a really busy week, so our bad. Why am I still holding this in my hand? Oh yeah, I put it back on it. Well, and if you think about it too,
Ta-da!
there is there's things that happen that on the roadway that doesn't have anything to do with the bike. Because I always say, if you want me to be considerate, you need to be considerate. Um, so that has nothing to do with if you're on the bike, I'm on the bike, it doesn't matter. But there's new drivers. There's so many reasons to be more cautious, be more
Mhm.
aware of your surroundings. It's not even just bikes. But I had also brought it up, like slug bug. When we were kids, we played slug bug, but you could also do it with a motorcycle, to get your kids to start paying attention to those on the motorcycles. Because while we enjoy riding motorcycles, a lot of people have sold their bikes because it's gotten so dangerous.
It makes people nervous. So in the United States, there are around 89,000 reported motorcycle accidents each year. 89,000 motorcycles wrecks each year. Um, that means about 1% of motorcycles are involved in an accident any given year.
Mm-hmm.
And so the statistics just keep going up from 2021. So the most common types of motorcycle accidents are head-on collisions, left-handed turns, speeding, driving while impaired, lane changing, road hazards, distracted driving, dooring accidents. So what a dooring accident is, if a car is like coming over on a motorcycle, changing lanes or something, then your door, that side door, whichever side it is, passenger driver side, hits that
Like
motorcycle.
I said earlier about one being in my door in
Yeah.
my blind spot. And then Trish made a good point. I'll adopt a biker, follow for one for safety. I will adopt a biker in a heartbeat, and it's a good thing because like the sticker on the back of my SUV clearly says,
Well, when
we
we
ride
say adopt a
motorcycles.
biker, we mean like keep them in the train length. Thank you. Keep them a car length
Yeah.
in between a
Well,
bike.
and I was following people. I'm gonna need them now. I was following Justin, which is my husband, and then a few other people, and um, a car cut between me and the bikes. Like there was not room to cut between me and the bikes, but they
Yeah.
did. So they almost had to buy a new vehicle because I was going to destroy their life basically because you could have killed one of the bikers. And that's why I'm one of those people that I won't start it, but I'll stop it. So if I see somebody acting ignorant, I'm gonna one up them to keep people safe.
Yeah.
I've walked in front of vehicles while bikes are trying to park because a lot of people don't understand when a bike's trying to park. Most of them will pull past where they're parking and they'll back in. There's no difference in that than parallel parking. And we've had somebody out here when we went to park on one of the rides, and it was for firefighters. We were riding with firefighters, and the firefighter ended up having to block the road because an SUV cut behind me, almost hit me, to go down the road with all the bikes trying to park. There was
Hmm.
no room for like there's bikers parking. So you don't have to like that they're parking, but they're gonna get off the road as quick as possible. And then when you get in the way,
It
all
just
you did
makes
is
it,
interrupt it.
yeah.
And I'm hoping he had to replace his mirror because I hate when people are like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't." Oh, I'm retaliating.
Well,
I don't have it in me to be calm.
for experience, if you don't ride a bike and you don't whatever, if this isn't your top thing, that's fine. But you
Hmm.
do not have to be negative or mean towards the ones of us that do, because to us it's fun. We love it. It's relaxing. It's our getaway.
And get rid of the stereotype that you have on bikers.
Yeah, we're not freaking Santa, son of anarchy,
I'm not Santa.
Santa. We're not Santa Claus either. Anyway,
Oh
son of
man.
anarchy, bull crap. I mean, we just like to
Son of
ride.
Anarchy. What? That's
Yeah,
his name, is it?
yeah, son of anarchy, son of anarchy,
Why does that not sound
sons
right?
of anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy. I was
Yeah,
like, something don't sound right here. Okay. Not that the S was that important.
or
I just didn't get it.
they get
Wait, they
the
have a guy that rode with us once though that looked just like a Jack Speller.
they do get the Hell's Angels. Oh my God, you're Hell's Angels because you got leather on. Really? No.
We have rode with the Reapers. We have rode with so many different
Baca.
clubs, and
And let me tell you all something about Baca. Baca is
it's
one.
Bikers Against Child Abuse.
Yes, it is one of the best. I don't think they're a club. I don't think they're considered an MC. I think it's an organization
Kind of
also.
like us.
Yeah. So, but it is, I mean, they ride for an amazing cause. And if you are interested, I would definitely look into the Bacchus because
Hmm.
they will adopt. I use that lightly because they help children who are in abusive situations,
Yes.
and they will go to court. So when a child goes to court
They will
and they
back
have
that
to
child.
testify against their abuser, you have 15 to 40 bikers that show up for this child.
So that he or she feels strong enough
Yes,
to say their
so that
word.
they're safe and they feel strong enough to testify what they need to testify. Baca is an amazing organization.
Yes. Justin said if he's seen Santa on a motorcycle. We've seen the Grinch too.
Yeah, we've seen. I'm the Easter Bunny. I've seen the
Oh
Easter
yeah,
Bunny
Easter
ride.
Bunny. Um, I've seen I'll be nice.
Yes. So, but I mean, there are some amazing reasons why we ride.
Hmm.
Um, and like I was saying a while ago before my mic stopped, that's what the look twice save a life is. If you're pulling out at a red light, you're pulling out at a stop sign. You know, you do look both ways before you pull out, but look again because you could have missed that motorcycle. We're not as big as cars.
No,
So
and
you could very well miss us. And I know they say the loud pipes save lives also.
hmm
some don't have those loud pipes. So by
A lot of
taking
the newer
that,
Harleys are quiet. It's
yeah,
weird.
yeah, especially the electric ones, like you can barely even hear
There
those.
was one that we rode with that one time. I didn't even know it was running. So that's funny because I didn't even know his bike was running, and I wasn't even trying to be hateful, but I was like,
Start your back.
I didn't even know it was going. And but that's something else too. Like you think about a car getting in your blind spot, that motorcycle could be in your blind spot when you're going to turn left, and that's how you end up getting them because they're not that big. So they can hide in your blind spot when you look once. But if you look again, they've moved down the road and they're going to be out of that blind spot because I've almost pulled out in front of a car being in my blind spot.
Right.
I mean, that's, and I just have trained myself to look and pay attention, but
And one of
a
the
lot
things
don't.
that we learned at the Freedom Fighters Forum that we just went to a couple of weeks ago, there was, what was his name? The safety instructor guy that came.
But
We talked
it
about him.
started.
That's just was.
Hang on, I know what it is.
Anyway, so he gave very good safety tips and recommendations. If you do ride, if you are a rider, make sure that you have um, like a first aid kit on your bike.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have this big, massive thing. You can get the little bitty travel first aid kits at dollar stores, even. They even have them at the dollar stores.
Yep.
Um, make sure that if you do, if you are in a group and
Slider.
slider and somebody wrecks, then you can assess the situation and make sure that somebody is calm enough to call 911,
Mm-hmm.
get help, help the injured person if you need to, stop traffic if you need to. Like those are all important things that you need to, if you do ride, that you can make sure um, to be more aware of,
Of your surroundings.
yeah, of what's going on, so that way you are prepared if something happens.
And if you don't ride and there's something that would make it easier to see a biker or something, let us know. I know that a crotch rocket,
Hmm.
the tail light on a crotch rocket, you cannot see.
Yeah.
I followed one down 31 the other day, and I stay pretty far back because my headlights are the asshole headlights, and I could barely see his tail light. And when he hit his brake to turn, was the only time I seen it. And their turning signal is like this big.
Well,
I
and
was
you were
like, what
talking
the
about
hell?
how the car in front of you and Justin had slammed on its brakes.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Jimmy were leaving here. We were headed back home one evening, and we seen three riders together, and the truck was turned. There was a truck in front of them that was turning, and I cannot say for sure if this was the motorcycle's fault or if it was the truck's, because one of the riders did have to go around the truck,
Mm-hmm.
so he could not get stopped in enough time. The other two riders did get stopped in enough time, but he did take his on around the truck because he could not get stopped in enough time. So if you are riding, I mean, be aware of vehicles too, because
Yeah.
sometimes they're not going to be aware of you. So you've got to be aware of them as well.
Well, and that's I always have to like beat this into Justin's head, but because we are defensive drivers, but on the bike you have to be on the offense.
Right.
You have to be ready for the next move because while you're paying attention, everybody else may not
Well,
be.
like Jimmy says, you have to anticipate,
Their next move.
right, what somebody else is going to be doing,
Yeah.
like the ones around you. You
Well,
have to pay attention to what's going on around
and
you.
that's like you said earlier. I'm not sure why people have such a hard time with roundabouts, but where you're supposed to yield and not stop if there's no traffic coming.
People always want to
I
stop.
don't know what is up with that. I've had to lock up the brakes in my SUV, and I'm like, what the hell was you doing? Because you're not going very fast.
Hmm.
But they'll lock up like it. I mean, they've never seen a yield sign before. But that's something else. Like even new drivers, for some reason, um, they have a hard time on the roads. And the elder, oh my goodness, we almost got hit by an elderly woman, and she was so apologetic. I think that was the only time I didn't get mad at somebody because she was she gave a shit, you know.
So here are some suggestions that you can to help prevent motorcycle accidents. Wear protective gear. Now, yes, I know some people don't like to wear helmets. We don't wear the helmets, and we get that. But I do suggest, and I have been guilty of it myself, to wear proper shoes. That I mean, we'll go
I wear
from
boots.
toes up. I have, and I've been done before doing it, but I have worn flip flops on a ride before. I've just hopped on the back
When we
with
had the pool
Jimmy
party, I was in a bathing suit
and just taken off.
and flip
So
flops.
I get that. I will wear at least my tennis shoes or my boots.
Hmm.
But I do highly suggest wearing proper feet attire because anything can happen. Anything could fly up off the road and hit your foot. We
And
actually
it
had a
hurts.
friend, yeah, we had a friend who broke her foot. That happened. Her and her man was riding, and a rock flew up and hit her ankle,
And it
and
flipped so hard it broke her
yeah,
ankle.
it hit her so hard it broke her ankle. So I mean, I do suggest if you're not helmet, that's fine. That's if you are more comfortable in a helmet, that's fine too. Um,
I got a good kick out of wearing my bathing suit though. I
I
mean, I had shorts
always
and a
I
tank
always
top on,
try
but
to wear at least jeans. I mean, I have worn shorts before too.
my jeans have so many holes in it. I guess it don't matter.
Jimmy does not really want me
Um,
ever riding with shorts, but um, just to prevent road rash, like you've got to anticipate the
you're
what
gonna get
ifs.
it. I mean, there's no. I mean, people always say to wear leather, dress for the slide, not the ride.
Right.
Um, and it's just not me. So,
For yeah, the
um,
road rash.
but Justin said, I try to make sure I can see vehicles' mirrors to be seen and be heard. If you can see their mirrors, they should be able to see you.
Right.
And then Trish said, prepare for the slide, not the ride.
Yeah, that's
So,
what we were just talking about. Okay, so maintain your motorcycle. Regularly change the oil, inspect and replace your brakes.
hmm
Keep your tires in good condition. That is something that is
that is one of the
very,
reasons we
very
wrecked
important.
because we knew that we needed to replace our back tire. It wasn't like it immediately needed to be replaced, but it
Right.
was on order. So we knew it needed to be replaced. That was one of the reasons we did not get stopped.
Well, I'll tell you what they did to us here a couple of years ago during Iron Horse. Jimmy is was notorious. Like we had this tire on our bike forever, and it really, really needed to be replaced. So a group of the older riders that was here that day, because he had brought his bike out and parked it out front, and they kept ragging him and kept ragging him about his tire. And they're like, no, 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 she's on the back of that. You need to get that changed. You
Hmm.
need to get that changed. So he kept saying, oh, I'm going to, I'm going to, I'm going to. They pulled it out back to the burnout pit and they burnt that tire
And they
off.
made him go get a
Yes, they
tire.
made him go get a
Well,
tire.
and that's something I always say to Justin. I have four small kids. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, I have two older
You want to go
teenagers, but
home.
I want to go home, and we don't ride like idiots. So, um, I don't understand why there's so much of a lack of respect anymore. It don't even just have to do with motorcycles, but just in general on the road. Like, I have road rage. It is literally over stupid ass shit, like stopping at a yield when there's nothing coming.
Right.
Because I'm the type of person I pay attention to the entire road.
Well, and cell phones, I think, make it
Oh my
10
god.
times worse because, and again, I'm guilty for grabbing my phone, when it goes off and I shouldn't. But there are so many, especially inexperienced younger drivers. And
Yes, and they're
I don't want to
obsessed with that
say
phone.
that it is just an
I know older people.
inexperience. Yeah,
Yeah, I know older people that.
you don't have to be an experienced driver. Could the same thing if they're
Hmm.
on their phone, they could cause a wreck. Stay off your phones.
Well,
You
and
know.
I always say, Justin can vouch for this. Like, I don't get on my phone at all, but when I get a text or a call or something, it comes up on my touch screen,
Yeah,
and I
in
can,
your car.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I can touch it, and I just answer my car. I don't have to type anything, stare at anything, nothing. I just tell it what I want it to do. And a lot of newer cars have that, which I have not understood because I've seen so many people in newer vehicles with their phone still up their ear or texting on it. And I'm like, do you not know how to set up your text
Mm,
when you're driving?
yeah.
Like,
Take a safety course. Learn how to avoid crashes or operate your motorcycle safely. I know that the Harley Davidson in Louisville, there's two of them, but there's only
the
one of them that it's the bluegrass
I was ready to say
Harley.
Bluegrass Harley does it. And then there is another one.
Wildcat Harley
Yes,
in London, they do it.
and then the one in Bowling Green.
And then there's one in Lexington. There's a course in Lexington that you can take
But
as well.
Harley does those courses, and they do them quite a bit, and I think they're important.
They're very good
Um,
courses.
but
It teaches you,
it
even if
teaches you
you are an
control.
experienced driver, go
They
through
have
those
advanced
courses.
classes.
Yeah, go through those courses.
Hmm.
And even if you've taken the courses, if it's been a couple of years, what's it gonna hurt to ride up there? You enjoy the ride anyway. You're probably gonna be going to Harley to check stuff out anyway. Go through the
I
course
ha-
while you're there.
I hate going to Harley. It always costs me so much money.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I love
I
Harley.
do.
Obey traffic laws. And yes, even as bikers, riders, whatever, it is important to obey the law. You're not above the law just because you're on a bike. And the same sense of that, though, if you're a vehicle and you see several bikes riding together,
Please let them all go.
yes, they need to stay together. There's a reason why they're together, and they can be seen if they're when they're in groups like that. Whether they're instead of just one falling behind, that's more dangerous for a rider than if you just waited a couple extra seconds at a stoplight and let them go.
We were going through a stoplight in the middle of Bardstown, and we didn't have blockers at that light because the light had just turned green, but there was still about 20 of us that hadn't gone through yet when it turned red, and we continued to go. And this truck just came. He
Mm-hmm.
didn't even like
Wasn't even gonna
give
stop.
a shit.
Yeah,
No, and he was at a stop, so he's seen us. Like it's not like he was just at a like going and
yeah.
not
It
paying
was just
attention.
one of those
He
like I'm
just
tired
was
of
a
waiting on you.
mhm.
Now's my turn. I'm going.
Yep.
Yeah,
And why?
you're not going to get to your place that much quicker because chances are when the ones in front of you see that you do that,
They're
guess
gonna
what?
stop.
They're going to stop. They're going to slow down because
Mhm.
they're going to wait for the ones behind them to
To catch
catch
up.
up.
And we've done that so many times. We've had been on rides with either family or just a group of us or whatever, and we'll make sure everybody gets there safely. But we've had people that'll fall behind because they get nervous,
Hmm.
and we'll pull over and wait for them.
Yeah. Well, and you had just said something that brought up when you said blockers.
Hmm.
For those that don't know, if it's a huge ride, um,
We set up
we
what's called
set
blockers.
up we set up a bike that will set out in the intersection to stop vehicles, so all the bikes can go through that intersection together. Not always is a blocker available, but 9 times out of 10 you will
And
have a
keep in
blocker.
mind too that cops will do that for us too.
Yes,
So the cops are not going to pull us over for blocking an intersection.
right.
They're not because
Most of the
they'll block
time
for us.
they've been on the ride as well. They
Yeah.
just cut off sooner than the ride
But
finished.
we Justin blocks, and we the only time I've ever gotten nervous is a semi because I'm
Oh,
like,
that would be scary
well, he was
because they
coming
can't
to
stop on a dime either.
no, and he was coming to a stop though, so it wasn't too bad.
It's almost like a train
Oh,
coming
I
at
was
you.
because he's seen us, and like that is one thing. Most semi drivers they have more respect for bikers than anybody.
Well, most of
And
them
most of
are.
them are. I was about to say most of them are
Yeah,
bikers,
they right.
but he was coming to a stop and he was like waving at us, and I'm like, oh thank God. Like
But don't be that asshole that goes around the one that is stopping traffic
yeah, because you're
just
gonna
to
kill
go
somebody.
through. You
Just to go.
will because riders are coming out.
And
They're
if you
they're
think you're
going.
gonna hit and run in a group of bikers,
That's not going to
you're
happen.
not getting very far.
No. Avoid bad weather. Now, wet roads, less traction, um, snow can make it harder to see. Uh, we have been caught in the rain. It is not safe. Well,
No,
it is not safe to ride in the rain, but we have been caught in the rain.
we went on a this last ride that we did last year, and we looked the radar and like it said we would go around the rain, and we ended up going straight through it.
Mhm.
I was
Well,
like,
we
oh
went
no,
to the tail of the
tell the dragon.
tail of the dragon. That's in Gatlinburg, right?
Hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Well,
So
it's in Tennessee.
yeah, crosses over into North
Yeah.
Carolina too. So yeah, we went there. On our way to like where you enter it, we hit a hellacious downpour, and I mean, I'm not talking just rain. It was hailing on us too.
That hurts
Yes.
bad.
So well, everybody else had their rain gear, and me and Jimmy had just bought new rain gear. Guess who left hers off the bike? So I got drenched. The only place that we had one little diner that we could pull off and could get our bikes under. They
Hmm.
had like an awning thing that we could get our bikes under
Yeah.
to wait until the weather passed. Um, but then they were like, everybody was like, well, let's still take it. Let's still take it. We'll still do the tail of the dragon. We'll still ride it. And I was like, I'm not riding in this. It did clear up. We did take it. Eventually, we did go on and ride. It was a beautiful ride. But that did make me a little nervous just because so much rain and the hail.
Well,
The hail had hit too.
Justin and I was going to a funeral, and we knew it was going to storm because that's why there was only three of us that went because it was like an hour away. So we were with Tommy Williams and then Steve.
Mhm.
And we were riding and we knew we were getting ready to hit a rainstorm. Well, I gave Steve my pants and it was hilarious because they barely fit him. I got drenched. But I
Mhm.
was like, it's way more uncomfortable to try to ride that bike soaked. And we're sitting there riding and stuff. And as soon as we got drenched. I was like, whoop.
Jimmy blocked a bunch of the rain and
I'll
stuff
hide
for
behind
me.
Dustin.
Yeah, but I still got wet. But you know what? The woman at the diner, because we went in there to eat and everything, so the weather would pass. And because Daniel actually gave me his rain pants to put on because the woman took my jeans that I had on and took them down the road to her aunt's house and dried them for me.
Oh,
Yeah, so that I thought that was super nice. I thought that was very
we
nice of her.
were funerals. Like when we tell you this is why we want to talk about this, but we were on our way home from a funeral, and we were on the BG, and I mean it came down like the gates opened on the rain.
Mm,
Well, we got to the Youngers Creek Bridge. We
yeah.
pulled under it. There's cars going past honking at us and stuff because
Mm,
they're laughing because we are drenched because it started right as soon as we got on the BG. So the next bridge or anywhere to go is Youngers Creek.
yeah.
So we were screwed all the way down through that.
Till you get to
And
that bridge.
we were going slow because it was raining so hard you couldn't see. Like, I mean, it was pouring. And but a lot of people got a good kick out of us being under the bridge because him and I like were wringing wet.
Mm.
But you know, I mean,
It happens. Now,
yeah.
we do have a couple of riders that come in here that are hardcore riders. I think
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy calls us fair weather riders.
Fair weather riders.
Yeah, but there are some riders that come in here that are hardcore riders, and they will ride in the rain, snow, sun. It does not matter.
Mm-hmm.
They are on their bikes. Be aware of your surroundings, which is that's what we talked about. Keep a safe distance from other vehicles and watch for pedestrians and opening car doors. Like if you're going down a road, especially like in town areas, where you
Like
have
in
to
New
park,
Haven, where they're parked
yeah,
all
where
down
you
the
have to
road.
park on
Mm-hmm.
the side of the road. Pay attention that a bike isn't coming when you're getting ready to sling your car door open,
And
or
when
if
you're
you're
on the
on a
bike,
bike,
pay attention
yeah, if you're on a bike, pay attention that a car door is not going to fling open when you go by.
because it might hurt.
Um, Limit dangerous driving. Avoid driving when roads are more dangerous for motorcycles. And we say that we have a lot of sites that we look at and we follow because most motorcycles they like the back roads. Those are the roads that we enjoy to ride on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, back roads also come with washed out roads,
Especially when it's
driveways.
raining.
Yeah, driveways. So there'll be
we
gravel in the road.
we were in Gatlinburg and we went up to Cape Cove
Hmm.
and it had rained. But we were out in Tennessee to ride, so we went to Cape Cove and one of the bridges had flooded. Well, the traffic was really bad in Cape Cove because the bears were out.
Hmm.
And we're sitting here on motorcycles, so the motor gets so hot, and people, you're not supposed to stop up there, but people were stopped. And we ended up being stopped in the middle of this creek that was flooding this bridge. So we're just sitting there in like this much water, just chilling. And I mean that, but we've also been on rides that somebody didn't pre-ride because we also have our president will pre-ride our rides like the day before
Yeah, go
to
on
make
it and
sure
check
the
it
roads are
out
safe. And
because of gravel or
we've been on roads where they
trees
don't do
down.
that. Yeah. Well, we went on a ride with some other people. It was for charity, and we shouldn't have gone because we knew better. The last time we had gone with them, it was just dangerous. We didn't like it. And they took a back road and they were flying. Well, it had rained. There
Hmm.
was gravel all in the road.
And that's very dangerous for
Yeah,
a motorcycle too.
and we're sitting here on a one-lane road with gravel all over it.
Hmm.
And I was like,
Potholes, animals, dead animals. Like if a car hits an animal, those things are not easy for
not dead
motorcycles.
animals aren't
Yeah.
funny, but this is funny. This bunny rabbit had like 100 lives. Because we were riding the three of us, and it went in between the first bike's two tires, back in between the two bikes, back in between the second bike's tires, and
Oh,
right in
he
front
was
of us.
playing with you all. No, he was
We were going
playing.
down 31, doing like
He took his
55,
own life in
60.
his hands. He was trying to.
Oh my gosh!
He
I
was.
said, "You're not a cat. You don't have 9 lives.
Yeah,
Please,
you're a
please get off the
bunny.
road."
Stop.
And it's when because we have hit an animal before. And if anybody knows me, I'll start crying. But the whole bike comes up off the ground, depending on which tire you hit it with, and
Well, those are
it
small
can
animals.
be.
I mean,
And
imagine a
yeah,
deer. You've got, especially when on these back roads, it is very, very dangerous, especially at night or dusk time, because deers will run out in front of you,
hmm
Um, so it is, limit dangerous.
Daniel said to
driving.
mention grass clippings. Oh, we've mentioned
Yeah,
grass
we've talked
clippings.
about grass clippings, but we will definitely come back around to those because that is something that just really
Well,
chaps my
and that's
ass.
like I said too, though. It's not the clippings. It's the
It's the whole
when you
grass.
have
You blowing your grass
because
out in the road. You shouldn't do that.
the
Don't do it.
clippings themselves aren't what's dangerous. It's when you have the chunks and the like you can't see the pavement because there's so much grass.
Yeah,
Because people get sarcastic when you say, don't put your grass on the road, but how hard is that? Like
it's not.
seriously.
If you truly know how to mow grass, then you know to blow it back into the yard and not out into the road. I've known people that will actually carry
Leaf blowers.
blowers, yeah, and stop and blow the grass off the road because their family rides motorcycles and they know how dangerous it is if somebody hits wet grass.
Yep.
Wet grass to a motorcycle is just like driving on ice, an icy road in a vehicle,
Oh,
a non 4-wheel drive
Justin
vehicle.
texted this to me. He didn't put it on Facebook because he's an asshole, and he said, "Watch out for spiders."
Well, we already know that one. Oh, there went that one.
Oh, well,
If
yeah.
you are, oh
Don't
well,
take Kristen riding when
so
Kristen's had too much.
here is the safety portion of it with a biker because when you're riding with somebody on the back of your bike, I've never rode with anybody, but if they move a lot, I mean, that throws the bike off.
Yes.
So that's what Justin's saying. Kristen freaked out one time because she thought a spider was
Oh,
going to get him.
I had a little too much, and the spiders were gonna get us.
Hmm.
That's just what it
So
was.
she wobbled on the back. That's not safe
Yeah.
either. You shouldn't wobble on the
You
back
should
of
not
the
wobble.
on
Well,
the back of
okay,
a
but
bike.
Justin, in my defense, when we were doing the pool party, I was also feeding him too while we were going down the road
Well,
because
that's
he
not
wanted
safe
some of my
either.
Ritz
We're talking
crackers.
about safety here.
Well, we do dumb shit. Who don't do dumb shit?
I agree.
mean,
I
but
agree.
that don't mean put somebody's life in danger.
No.
Um, but Butta said, "What's Ray? Sorry if I'm too loud." And then Justin said, "Butta, you're never too loud."
You're always loud, but
Butta, that's why you're called the megaphone because you are too loud. But it's okay. We enjoy it sometimes.
um so and here is
She's trying to read, so I'm
I
trying
am
to
I'm
like.
getting other things on here because one of the things is of course and this should be a thing whether you're on a bike or in a car or whatever, don't
Mhm.
drink and drive. Now I know that there are several times that if we've had somebody that has rode down here and they have had too much to drink, we will pull their bike inside the bar here.
And let them go
And
take a nap.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
no, I mean they'll get a ride home. They'll come back the next day. I
Yeah.
mean, we keep their bikes in here overnight. So we've had up to I think 5 or 6 in here at one time. We've pulled them in here that people's just they came early and stayed late, so it was not
It wasn't safe.
feasible
Well, and
for
that's
them to
something
drive
else
home.
too. Like when we do the charity runs and stuff, and all that and benefit rides. We do stop at bars, and a grown man having a beer, as long as they're not doing it on an empty stomach, I don't see nothing wrong with that. But on our rides too, if somebody gets stupid, they get kicked off the ride.
Hmm.
Like you're not going to be riding with us acting ignorant. It's just not going to happen. But I mean, I don't. But don't drink and drive. I get that. Don't be intoxicated.
Right.
That's basically how I take that. Don't be intoxicated. As long as you are well aware of your surroundings and you're not down in beer after beer after beer after beer on an empty stomach, especially when you're a 200, 300-pound man,
Right. I mean,
that beer's not gonna hurt.
you can tell what your limit is. Nobody can tell you what your limit is. You know what your limit is.
Yeah, Dustin said he's taken his bike home, and I've had to take him back here to get someone else's bike home.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. I mean,
even
there's ways around that
and
too.
that's at Long Branch Saloon. That's why, like Long Branch Talks, it kind of goes together. But it's a big thing to do with safety. And every single one of us will help you out, even if it's not feasible. Like Justin said, he's rode somebody's bike home for them because they weren't going to leave their bike here. His bike got home. He got home. I kicked him out of my car and left.
Increasing. Okay, so how a car because we'll go into how non-riders can help, which we've talked about that. The safety of look twice, save a life.
Mhm.
Um, that's pulling out of anywhere that you're pulling out at. increase the following distance to avoid getting too close to a bike. Now, we have been to several friends who have gotten in wrecks and even a funeral of one. And this should be a rider's beware also. It's the glare when it is a very sunny day, the glare off of a car.
Hmm.
Because if a car window has the sun glaring on it, it is hard to see their brakes. You know,
Hmm.
if they're braking in front of you or something. Um, so I and that's not something that I'm very familiar with. I know that it does happen. I can't say how to prevent that. Maybe one of you all can chime in if you're listening to
Well, and
talk
that's like
about
people
better
that
of
tint
how
their
to
brake
prevent
lights.
that.
Like,
Um,
why do you tint your brake light?
but the
I just
glare,
need to know.
the sun of the glare, that I mean that is
But that's kind of with it, like the glare of the sun. But
right.
if you have those brake lights tinted, they're so dark you can't see them.
Oh yeah, yeah. Um, so if you and this isn't a car, but this goes along the with the grass clippings and the gravel in the road. If you know that your driveway,
Will
um,
wash out.
yeah, washes out, then clean it up. If it
Hmm.
washes out, clean it up. Like that's not hard. Um, that's reduce debris, improve your drives. You know, if something like that happens,
Megan said, I adopt every time I get behind a bike. I do too. And I've even had bikes come around me
yeah,
so that they can be in front of me because of somebody riding their ass. Because I don't do it. Like you, I'm, I'm just not a chill person when I see somebody risking somebody else's life.
yeah,
I can go from zero to bitch extremely quick, especially when it comes to somebody putting a bike in danger. I don't even let my kids ride anymore because of idiots on the road, and they love to get on the bike. And of course, we make them wear their helmets, but it's sad that I have kids that cannot even enjoy going to the store on the bike because some idiot's gonna pull out in front of them.
right. They don't pay attention.
Hmm.
Sharing the road with motorcycles because that is a thing. You have to share the road with other riders
It's a
when you can.
vehicle. We
Um,
pay for the road too.
yeah, check your blind spot. Um,
And
I'm
a lot
trying
of
to.
like we were talking about that too, the blind spots and stuff. So my Escalade is the extended Escalade. So I had my blind spots are just ginormous. And I'm a very small person, so I can't really see out of my car extremely well. And that's why looking twice is so important because I'm not going to see you probably the first time I look, especially a motorcycle.
Right.
And that's why that look twice is so important because I'm sure your Jeep has blind spots. Um,
Yeah.
I mean,
My Lincoln does too.
yeah, I didn't even think about that, and that's what you're driving today. But I mean, you have blind spots in everything you drive, pretty much. Even small cars, trucks. It don't matter what you're in. But the point of the matter is when you look twice, if that bike was in your blind spot, they will no longer be in that blind spot. I think Justin might have been with me when this happened, but it was storming and there was a dark car and they were coming down 62 and I was pulling off Preston onto 62 and I was taking a left hand turn.
Hmm.
So right there at that store, I don't know where they came from, but they didn't have headlights on or anything. And I missed them both times. Like I looked, and I went to pull out, and something caught the glimpse, and I slammed on my brakes, and I was probably that close from hitting them.
Yeah.
And that would have been my fault, but they didn't have their headlights on, and it was storming. Like that is why looking twice is so important. And nobody's perfect. We're all going to mess up. And I think it's important to own our mess ups. Like I could have hit that person because that's how you grow. Um, is learning through your mistakes. Because if you're not going to learn through your mistakes, then
Right. You
you're
don't.
never gonna you're
You're
never
never
gonna be able.
gonna.
And I mean, I won't say that I'm a perfect driver because I'm not. Anybody knows me. I speed. I mean, I have a lead foot.
Well, I mean,
Um,
you don't have to be a perfect driver to be more
I
aware
was
of
already
what's
say,
going on around you.
but something my grandpa always told me, and it has stuck with me my whole life because that's one thing people will joke and do all kinds of stuff to me, but then I mean, I'm a pretty good driver. But my papa always told me you know what you're doing. You know where your foot is on the gas, brake, your hands are on the steering wheel. You know what's going on in your vehicle. Don't pay attention to what you're doing. Pay attention to every single person around you. I cannot tell you how many wrecks I've avoided by doing that. Because a lot of people, they only pay attention to what they're doing
Right.
and then get sideswiped or hit or whatever. And it's so easy to like just pay attention to everything around you because I've almost been run off the BG before and had to slam on my brakes. And that way, you know, if you're going to pass somebody, because if they're on their phone, they're erratic. Like you can tell they're going from side to side. And pay attention to that, especially on a bike,
Mhm.
because they're already not paying attention to the roadway anyway.
Right.
So, but just because we say something about the bikers and paying attention to what you do and things, it is just as important in your vehicle. The only thing really is the hazards on the road. That's what's different. Because it's a lot more dangerous for a
Well, you
motorcycle.
got to think a car is so much bigger than a bike. So if you do hit, if you're in a car and you crash with a motorcycle, chances of that motorcycle making it or making it out with very minimum damage, like what you would do with very minimum damage, is slim to none
Hmm.
because there's no cage around us when we're
A
out
lot of
riding.
a lot of motorcycles called cars and stuff pagers because you're in a cage.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's nothing around us that can to save us, and it
Anybody
might
that's
not kill
watching,
us.
is there another hazard that we're not thinking about? Because she's been reading them and stuff, but like something you've come across that has been dangerous, because that is the whole point of this. Because this week we had a few pretty days, and it was like bike after bike after bike going down, and most of the time a car was involved.
They pull out in front of
Hmm.
them. They think, I guess they think they can make it before the bike gets there, and that, I mean, that's just like pulling out in front of another vehicle. The only difference is a bike cannot stop as quick as another vehicle can. And if the bike does try to slam on its brakes to stop to prevent from hitting you, it's still going down because it just
They're
can't.
gonna
You
slide,
can't. Yeah, they're gonna slide.
and hope to God don't high side because it's gonna throw them.
Mhm.
But I always say I'm the most aggressive, generous driver because I want to go from point A to point B as fast as possible. I just hate being in the. That's just how I drive. And but if like a tractor trailer or something's trying to get out of somewhere and nobody will let them out, I'll be the first to stop and let them out
Right.
because like I just don't get the selfishness and the not caring about everybody around you because when did this stop? When did we become such a selfish society? Like that is what the problem is. You only care about your text, your vehicle, what you're doing on the roadway. You don't give a shit about anybody else on the
Anybody
roadway.
else?
But we share the road. Like we learned how to share in kindergarten. Hopefully
Some
your
people did
parents taught you
not.
how to share. But that is what that is. Share. Megan said new pavement and the oil on and tar on it, especially when it's wet. Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, that
that sucks.
sucks.
Um,
That's even in a vehicle that sucks.
oh yeah,
Could you imagine what it is like
we've
in
hit
on
some
a?
before. Well, and Justin, he's short-legged, and
Mhm.
the other thing that got him on one of our rides is that we were leading the ride. I felt so bad for the people behind us because it was kind of funny. Um, but there was gravel on top of the pavement, and a car was flying down the road, so he slammed on his brakes and like,
Spins it.
well, his bike just kind of fell over because we were pulling out the boondocks,
Mhm.
so he slid. So he didn't really drop his bike, but he slid. Well, everybody behind me, it was so funny. I just stood up on my floorboards and jumped off the bike to help him get the bike up, but it was still falling over. And they were like, "How the hell did you land on your feet?" And I was like, "I
Mm.
don't know." But that's something else that'll get a biker is gravel on top of pavement because it's gotten us twice. And
Yeah. Well, and like Megan said, with the that goes into. I guess I don't really know how you could tell if a road has been paved. I think sometimes that they do send out notifications,
it's
but
pretty it's pretty obvious
I
when
mean,
it's new pavement.
when you get there,
When you hit
yeah.
it, yeah, when
But
you
I'm
hit it.
saying if is there a way that you could find out ahead of time to maybe redo the route so you don't have to go down that road,
Yeah.
you know?
Justin said, "Dang, way to call me out, old short legged." It's true.
We can't help the
I've
fact that
thrown my
you got
weight
four
before and
legged.
kept you from dropping your bike. You better leave me alone. I'll quit saving your ass. Um, But and that's something else as a passenger. Pay attention because when we wrecked, I mean, I went over him, and had I been paying attention, I could have held on to him
And
and not been thrown.
yeah, not gone anywhere.
And thankfully, you know, he was smart enough to take us to the grass, so I didn't hit pavement or nothing. I was okay. Sore as hell, scratched up, but I was good. But as the passenger, it's also your responsibility to pay attention because don't be a backseat driver because that's annoying as shit. But pay attention to what's going on around you, especially if you don't think that because we've come up on a yellow light and Justin's just paying attention to the road, not paying attention to the damn light, and the car in front of us goes, it turns yellow, and it's getting ready to turn red. We're not gonna make it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it's a fucking red light, like stop. And so he stopped, and he was like, I was just enjoying the ride. I was like,
Just
Jesus.
getting caught up in the ride. So
He said he loves his reverse gear. Me,
we will close again with look twice, save a life. Be more aware
Mhm.
of your surroundings. Be more respectful. Share the road with a biker if you see
let's
one
take it back to
out.
kindergarten.
Yeah,
Learn how to share again.
be just be
Respectful.
respectful. Watch for hazards in the road. Try, don't try, don't stop blowing your grass into the road, and just be more respectful. That's
Yeah.
all it just boils down to.
Um,
Share the road and be more respectful.
yeah, and stop thinking that I don't know why we don't look at people as people.
Yeah,
So I mean, and Justin said, "How can we get one of those stickers?" You're
we
such an
have
ass.
them.
You
We
watching me make them.
yes, Kristen makes them, but we have them for sale here at
Mhm.
Long Branch. If anybody would want one,
And if you like Harley stuff, there's
yes,
Harley decals
we
too.
have Harley decals too. But anyway, thanks for tuning in today. And you can always catch us on Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeart. We're also on YouTube,
Facebook,
Facebook, Instagram,
Instagram.
and TikTok under Amber and Kristen.
Yes.
So,
So I have to go shut everything off. But you all be careful, be respectful, watch what you're doing,
yes, and we will come back to this again because this is something that we're very
and
passionate
don't
about.
be assholes on the road.
So we will be talking about safety with motorcycles several times.